Welcome to the Explainer. So, you might not know this, but successfully navigating Montana's unemployment system could actually secure you up to $552 a week while you're looking for your next gig. Now, losing a job, literally one of the most stressful things you can go through. But today, we're going to take control. We are going to master these official guidelines step by step together, taking you all the way from day one of job loss right up to successfully claiming your benefits online. Let's do this. If you've recently lost your job in Montana, your absolute first priority is replacing your income, right? And doing it without tripping over a bunch of bureaucratic red tape. That's what this explainer is all about, empowerment. The system is definitely designed to help you, but you kind of have to know exactly how to play by its rules if you want to get the financial relief you absolutely deserve.
And honestly, here's exactly why you need to pay close attention. Depending on your past earnings, your weekly unemployment benefit here in Montana can range anywhere from $163 all the way up to $552. That is a massive financial bridge for you and your family. So we really want to make sure you get every single dollar you're entitled to and as quickly as possible.
To get you there, we've put together a super clear roadmap for this explainer. We're going to hit the ground running with understanding the basics, then preparing to file, the actual online filing process, fulfilling those weekly requirements, troubleshooting issues, and finally, what happens after filing. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, understanding the basics. Namely, do you actually qualify? So think you qualify? Well, there are basically 3 strict hurdles you've got to clear first. Number 1, you must have earned a minimum amount in wages before you became unemployed. Number 2, you have to be unemployed through absolutely no fault of your own, meaning, you were laid off rather than just quitting or getting fired for misconduct. Though it's worth noting there are some exceptions here. For example, if you were forced to quit due to domestic violence, stalking, or sexual assault, you might actually still be eligible. And hurdle number 3, you must be physically and mentally able and fully available for full-time work. Now, Montana calculates your past wages using this specific time frame they call your base period. And that's typically the first 4 of the last 5 completed calendar quarters before you file. To qualify, your total wages during this base period have to be at least 1.5 times the wages in your highest paid quarter and at least 7% of the state's average annual wage. Okay, I know it sounds like some crazy complex math, but don't worry, the state system literally calculates this all automatically the second you apply. Moving on to Section 2, preparing to file. It is time to gather up those documents. You really need to have some specific information right at your fingertips before you even start clicking around. You're going to need your social security number, the exact dates of your past employment, the specific reason you're no longer working for your past employers, and, this is a big one, your bank account and routing numbers. The state's claims processing team actually cannot verify or enter your direct deposit information for you. No exceptions. You have to do this yourself, securely, right inside the online portal. Okay, Section 3, the online filing process. Let's talk about navigating those tech hurdles. So when you go to file, you're actually going to interact with 2 completely different tech systems. Think of Okta as the highly secure front door. It's this universal login system used by the entire state. Then the UI Claimant Center is the actual unemployment system inside the house where you'll file your claim. You have to create an Okta account just to get into the Claimant Center. And hey, here is a huge pro tip directly from the state's FAQ. Clear your internet browser cache before you begin this process for the very first time. Trust me, it prevents a ton of frustrating login loops. Once you're actually in, Montana is going to require you to verify your identity to prevent fraud. They use a third-party service called ID.me for this. Honestly, it's pretty smooth. Over 80% of claimants seamlessly use the first method, which is an unsupervised automated process where you just upload a photo of your ID and take a quick video selfie with your smartphone. Now, if your credit file happens to be thin or the automated system just fails for whatever reason, you'll be routed to a supervised video chat with a real human, a trusted referee. And if you happen to lack internet access entirely, the state actually rolled out an in-person verification pilot program over at the Billings Job Services Workforce Center. All right, take a deep breath. Getting through Okta, setting up your direct deposit, and passing that ID.me verification, that is totally the hardest part. You've officially submitted your initial claim, but your job isn't quite done yet. Which brings us to Section 4, fulfilling your weekly requirements so you can actually maintain those benefits. Here's the deal. Every single week, you must log back into the UI Claimant Center and officially request payment. And when you do, you have to accurately report all of your activities. Let's say you worked a tiny 3-hour shift on a Tuesday.
Even if you won't actually see that paycheck for 2 more weeks, you absolutely must report those hours and earnings immediately. Furthermore, unless you're union or job attached, you have to actively search for work and keep a scrupulous, detailed log of your job contacts. The Unemployment Insurance Division can literally audit your claim at any time during the year. And if you can't produce your work search documentation when they ask, you'll lose your benefits. Simple as that. And here is a critical point that the state really emphasizes. Federal law requires that if you are on a temporary layoff and your employer calls you back to work, you must return. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you fail to do so, it's officially considered a refusal of work. That's a super serious classification, and it will potentially disqualify you from receiving any further unemployment insurance benefits. Let's pivot to Section 5, troubleshooting issues. What do you do if something goes wrong? We've all been there. Total panic sets in when a payment doesn't arrive on time. Well, often, it's just a state holiday delaying the system, but sometimes it means an adjudicator is reviewing your claim. Think of an adjudicator like a factual referee. For example, if the reason you said you left your job differs from what your former employer is reporting, the adjudicator has to step in, investigate, and gather the facts from both sides before they can issue a final decision on your eligibility. Now, if that decision doesn't happen to go your way, you need to pay very close attention to this timeline. You have exactly 10 calendar days from the date of the decision to file an appeal. And yes, weekends absolutely count toward those 10 days. You can do this online, by phone, mail, or fax. Just remember, if you do appeal, you must continue filing your weekly claims, because if you win your appeal, you're only going to receive back pay for the weeks you actively filed a claim. All right, moving into the home stretch with Section 6. What happens after filing, and how to maximize your next steps? To really maximize your benefits, you want to monitor your claim status regularly at uiclaimant.mt.gov. Also, if you get a notice for a mandatory virtual RESEA appointment, which stands for Reemployment Services and Eligibility Assessment, you must attend it with Job Service Montana. If you miss it, you risk your benefits. Now, if you happen to find some part-time work, definitely utilize the state's partial benefit calculator just to see how those new wages might affect your payout. And lastly, purely for your own security, never ever give out your social security number if you have to call the claim center. Always use the unique claimant ID that you'll find on your official letters or right there in the online portal. I know, navigating state bureaucracy can feel completely overwhelming. But by understanding the rules, utilizing that online portal properly, and just staying organized, you can confidently bridge the financial gap between your last job and your next great opportunity in Montana. I do want to leave you with one last, absolutely critical warning. Honesty is paramount here. If you make a false statement or withhold facts just to try and increase your benefits, like, say, deliberately not reporting some part-time income, you will be hit with an administrative penalty. This means you'll be assigned penalty weeks. You'll still have to file, and you'll have to be perfectly eligible during those weeks, but you will receive absolutely $0 until that entire penalty is served. It's just not worth it. So, with all of that incredible knowledge in your back pocket, are you ready to take control, confidently log into the portal, and claim the benefits you've earned? You've got the roadmap, you know the pitfalls to avoid, and you know exactly what is expected of you. Just a quick reminder, the information provided in this explainer is for informational purposes only. So always consult the official Montana Unemployment Office or a professional advisor for your specific circumstances. But you now have the ultimate roadmap to secure your financial bridge. So the only question left is, what will your next great career move in Montana be?